Hello and welcome to Maverrik Live. I am your host Luke 2 and today I'm joined by, little spoiler there, Jay Unwin.
Hi, it's me again.
How you doing?
Yeah,
you
I'm
good?
Mate?
You enjoying the new little setup I got for you here?
Variety's the spice of life and all that.
I'm
enjoying this.
Changing things up just to so when the audience arrives, like, oh, what's the studio going to look like today? Because we've got quite a free-flowing sort of setup we've got.
Yeah, I like it. It feels conversational, Luke.
Yep.
It feels like it's friendly. I like it.
That's what I kind of want to bring to the show. You know, so you feel at ease as I bring you down into the dark depths.
And it was like
now we have a little table here.
We have a little table. And I feel less separated from you.
That's good because I feel like no one could see the table anyway in the back. There's a lot of the shots, and we don't sit around just drinking coffees, but we do a lot, but not during the show because we need to talk and address people. Which, by the way, if you have any questions, let us know. We've got a big TV in front of us and we will answer them as time goes on. We're a little bit early today. We're usually at 12:15 every Monday, Wednesday and Friday, but we decided to switch it up and have it on 12 o'clock just so people can get their lunches a little bit earlier, which would be nice.
That's good to me.
I was thinking maybe we could change the show up sometimes because a lot of the time we do this show predominantly for people who are maybe on their lunches, we want to catch them at lunchtime. So we might alternate a lot of the show's run times just to see. So if you know when the perfect time for you would be, let us know, and then we'll just do it just for you, just in the comments. But
I may as well try it.
Today we're not talking about ourselves, even though we probably are going to. We're talking about how to become and I've got this one for you here, influencer. Yeah, I even got a little transition for it.
Fade in.
Here you go. I got a little graphic in the corner I found on Google. It's fantastic.
Perfect. You've gone above and beyond. Luke.
Oh, I have totally completely spent hours just working on this. That transition took me about, at least 5 minutes. But when I'm talking about an influencer, I feel like it's opened up a little bit of, the words opened up a little bit. Because back in the day, we used to think about influencers, you're talking about really the top end names.
Yeah.
You got your Kanyes, your Beyoncés, your Jenners, all the big names. So we're still influencers. But I feel like the word has kind of been adopted by a lot of different people now.
Sure.
I'm an influencer now because I've got this following, which we talked about last time you were on. We were talking about building that following. So now we're talking about, being an influencer and how to become one in a sense.
I think you're absolutely right in terms of the meaning of the word changing a little bit. And this is the thing with language, it evolves over time anyway, and any of these things do. But I think that if you look at the literal sense of the word, an influencer is someone who has influence.
Yep.
And so we're all influencers to a degree because we can all influence the people around us, the people close to us, our friends, our families, they go on our recommendations.
Got something fun for you here is the defining influence here.
Right, perfect. Defining influence. It's almost like we planned this. We definitely didn't.
Google
the
Dictionary.
To have an effect on the character development or behaviour of someone or something, or the effect itself. Yeah, so there we go. So we all have influence and therefore we are all influencers.
Yeah.
And the thing which has changed is the platform that each individual has. Where before the public platform that celebrities have was their own thing, that wasn't available to other people. Celebrities who were in, if they were in a magazine or they were on a TV show or something like that, they had the platform to talk about their likes, their dislikes.
It was dictated by traditional media in a sense.
It really was, and that wasn't accessible to the general public. I mean, the best you could get was probably writing a column in your parish newsletter or something like that, right? And now we've got the technology which allows us to publish our own content without being at the mercy of traditional publishers.
Yeah.
And so we've got the capacity now to extend the influence that we already had to a much larger audience.
Yeah, we've got we already have influences with, I'd say, our friends, because a lot of the I can't remember the phrase about there's marketing to certain pockets of groups of people. Is you have your likes and shares on a comment or post, and then what happens behind the scenes is people sharing it in their friendship groups. Everyone has we've got a work group chat, we've got our friend group chats, and that's where the hidden sort of marketing, and that's where people, and that's where influencers and content creators, they really want to be. They want their content shared in those little groups because it really spirals out and it creates this big vast web of engagement and content.
It's like word of mouth, isn't it? I mean, It's word of mouth, but just done through digital means. For example, WhatsApp. Your work WhatsApp group is an extension of the chatting in the kind of work kitchen or around the coffee machine or whatever. It just extends that into when you're not at work.
Yeah.
You know, your friendship group chat, or whether it's a WhatsApp group, Facebook group, or whatever, is you know, it might have been the people that you saw at school reunions, but now you're in contact with them all the time, and so that word of mouth is
you can see that influence, because when someone posts something who, like, you enjoy their content a lot of the time, you're like, okay, Jay's posted something on the work chat, means I need to go check it out and see what he's done, because you know you're a quirky guy and I want to see what you're putting out there. Whereas if someone else in the work chat just posted something, I'd be like, oh, you know, it's going to be this again. So you already see that kind of level of influence in your friendship group, where people, you know, it's like a social hierarchy, which kind of, you know, is weird to establish, especially when it is between friends. But you know for a fact that people have certain influences on others. So when you build that following, it's kind of the same theory as, oh, this person has shared something, I want to go and see what they're talking about.
Yeah, and that comes from not what most people consider as being a kind of the pinnacle of influences, you know, the number of followers you have and things like that.
Yeah.
But it's to do with how invested in you those followers are, and it ties into like what we discussed before about turning followers into fans. And if you want to become an influencer, it's not about the number of people who are seeing your stuff, but it's how much they care about the stuff that you're putting out. Because if you look at, I mean, you're talking about people like Kim Kardashian, for example, who's an uber influencer in terms of the sheer following she has. If she shares that she uses a particular product, a lot of people are going to use that product.
Yeah.
But that's not just because she has a huge number of followers. It's because those followers really are bought into her as a brand.
Yeah.
And now, if you scale that back, because it's very difficult to reach the levels of followers and the levels of fame that people like that get to, because again, that she comes from a background of almost real world celebrity, given her family background and stuff like that.
Yeah. We're talking about micro influencers now,
exactly.
Where it's people who are very well known and very well engaged in their audiences.
Yep.
So a little bit past, I used to review board games. We haven't done one in a while, but you can see people who are in that community will respect someone who has put out a lot of content. They value their opinion, and if they say this game is the go-to, a lot of people will then go and they will purchase and check out that game. The same could be done with makeup, the same could be done with hairstyling, the same could be done with literally any form of hobby. Like all these hobbyists, when you reach that level of people actually genuine care about your opinion, know you're a genuine person, and then they will respect, you know, the products that you buy into.
Yeah, and a big part of it is the relatability aspect as well. So one of the things which holds back celebrity influencers is the lack of relatability in a lot of ways. And the things which really kind of act as a catalyst for them often is when they do show that little sliver of vulnerability or humanity, the general public could go, oh, actually, I struggle with those two things, and that celebrity struggles with them too, and that relatability forms.
I put my jeans on one leg at a time as well. That's crazy.
I can't believe it.
How does that happen?
You eat food, I eat food.
That's amazing. Might not be the same food, but
but the thing is, that part of it is, although the background and the fame and the celebrity status isn't accessible to everyone, at least not at the start. You never know where things will snowball to. But the relatability is something which is accessible to everyone. And it's a mistake I see a lot of people making on social media, especially in the business world, is forgetting to post that humanity, forgetting to post the personality.
Or they'll do, oh, I almost forgot my keys, and there's a picture of their keys next to their Rolex, next to their BMW. You know, it's
like a humble brag.
Yeah, it's one of those things where they feel like that's what people want to see from them. Like, oh, I'm successful, therefore you should follow me. Not like that anymore. It's more like I am successful in a sense, but I also know how I got there, and I respect, you know, life comes first, essentially.
One of the things that Pat Flynn talks about in the book Superfans is that if you talk about the things that you like, the people who are seeing your posts, if they like it, they'll connect with you more.
Yeah.
So, like, for example, a particular movie or genre of music or things like that, or sport, you post about that, and the people in your audience who also like those things go, me too, and they engage more.
Yeah.
And what it doesn't do is turn off the people who don't like it. So it's a win-win situation. You're not going to lose. You're not going to lose followers, or you're very unlikely to lose followers unless it's something particularly controversial.
Yeah. You're building a deeper relationship with your current followers, and you can gain more without alienating
exactly.
the other.
Exactly. Yeah, you're not going to alienate the others because no one's going to go, oh, I'm going to stop following this person because they like Marvel movies.
How dare you?
I know. But then other people who do follow you who also like them go, oh, that's something we have in common, and they become more invested in your journey and who you are as a person. And therefore, when you recommend something, whether it's your own product or service, or whether you're recommending something else, as part of a kind of advertising thing, which is obviously influencer marketing is a big thing. When you make those recommendations, those people who are more invested go, well, he likes these things, or she likes these things, which I also like.
Yeah.
So if he or she likes this thing,
yeah, we've
then
got
maybe I'll like that too.
We've got the same personality in a sense, and we've got the same likes and dislikes. So maybe I'll like it as well. It's putting. They're putting themselves onto you in a sense. Where, that's me also, but without the time or energy to do this video or to create this content or to talk to this audience.
And it ties back into what you were saying about the kind of group chats and the work friends and the different friendship groups we've got, and perhaps a couple of people in that group would be more likely to listen to than others because, like you said, someone posts something in there and you go, oh, I'm more likely to look at that because it was posted by so-and-so.
Yeah.
The reason we often do that is because that person is someone that we've already established has things in common with us and likes similar things. So we see them post and we think, it might be something that I like, because a lot of their other stuff is stuff that I like too.
Yeah, if you want to add some social media strategy into this as well, this is where Facebook groups come in a lot handy. Because what you can do is you can ask questions, you can engage with people in those niches, and then they can find out who you are, learn more about you, and you can create an audience that way.
Yeah.
I think that's probably one of the most powerful things you can do on Facebook right now, because your company page engagement can dwindle a lot of the time, where it's more about the people. Like we say this all the time, it's about the person.
The focus on Facebook groups, I think, is coming from two directions as well. You've got the actual people using the platform are using groups a lot, but also the algorithm on Facebook favours it because you're more likely to get notifications. You're more likely to see those posts showing up in your feed, especially if it's a group that you engage with a lot.
Yeah.
Definitely more than business pages because they're rubbish for reach and engagement.
Currently,
and personal profiles are better. But groups are ranked even higher than that. And I mean,
you've got your niches, and you can basically you find people who are interested in that group because they've joined it essentially.
Well, an example that I saw recently, I joined a group that was a kind of, I guess, a fan group, if you like, for a particular supplement company.
Right.
And they're all plant-based supplements, they're very kind of ethical and
sustainable.
Outright, all their packaging's recyclable.
Yeah.
It's all vegan products and stuff like that. And so this group is about that, and there's lots of fitness bits and pieces in there and things. There's thousands of people in the group, and I noticed one of the first things I noticed in this group was a guy who is his niche is he's a personal trainer, but his niche is around plant-based muscle gain and for busy professionals and stuff like that, mostly with men. And I thought, well, he's joined that group. He's nothing to do with the company other than he uses their products. He's not in there pitching, but he's in there offering advice to people, and people are lapping it up because they see him and they're like, oh, I want to be more like him, but we know we've already got something in common because we're both, a lot of people in the group are vegan and stuff like that. So that's quite a tribal feel to it.
Yeah.
And he's developing a following outside the group as a result of his action.
And he's also a consumer, so he knows the product, he knows what he wants from the products, he knows what the audience wants from the products, and then he just feeds all that information to them. If you like X, you'll like Y, because I like X and I like Y.
Exactly that.
That's how you get it. I've got another slide here, which is about responsibility in a sense, because a lot of the time, if you have that influence, you've gained that following. Now you've got to ensure that you keep your followers respect. And if you're going to be an influencer, you need that responsibility to, one, you have to do this now, is if it's a branded post or you've been given something for free, you need to make sure that the audience knows that.
Yep.
That came in, that was a few years ago now, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's not long ago, was it? But I think that kind of transparency is expected now.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been.
It's not expected now. It's like a legal requirement.
No, I know. It's definitely it's a legal requirement. But I think that even prior to it becoming a legal requirement, I think that people started getting a bit savvy to sponsored posts and things like that, where you go, are they actually using this, or are they just being paid to use it?
I just keep thinking of the Wayne's World part where they're just sat there. Why would you sell out holding a Domino's pizza box like that?
Exactly. And I think it is good that they've made that a legal requirement now, because people do want to know whether something is paid or not. And I find it really useful because I guess the kind of influencers that have an effect on me are the ones which I trust, that would only partner with brands that they genuinely agree with anyway.
Yeah, they select the ones out of their, say, for their philosophies, their beliefs,
their own values and principles and stuff. Yeah, but I know that's not always the case, and so it's quite good to see now and again. I'll see one which isn't a sponsored post, and they'll say, this isn't a sponsored post. This is just a product I use that I really like, and because I know that legally they have to tell me if it's an advert, and they have to tell me if that's a sponsored post or a partnership. If they're saying it isn't, I can rest assured that that's just them sharing something that they really like, whether it's a book that they've read or a product
I've got no affiliation with this company, but I really like this because it solved this problem I was having currently.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which is great. I've seen a lot of influencers on YouTube actually say they've dropped sponsorships now, because a lot of we're going to go into, like, if you're going to go to YouTube drama, but whenever there's some negative feedback, you can see a lot of brands are now dropping their support for a lot of influencers through their actions. Yeah,
and I wonder how far that will go as well, on both sides, and whether influencers will find other ways of monetizing their influence rather than just through the kind of influencer marketing thing. Because again, I think in the same way as you go out and make a cup of tea when the advert break is on TV, or you skip the ad at the beginning of the YouTube video, people are almost, they've become a bit more immune to product placement and things like that. You see someone using a Sony laptop in a film, you just go, product placement.
Yeah, you blow past it like, there's a reason why we're always driving that kind of car in those Bond movies.
Yeah. And so it's kind of, we're all fairly aware of that now to a degree, and so it has less impact. The time that I think that it makes the most difference is when it's your own, you're kind of promoting your own products and services.
Yeah, and then it can.
Yeah, I think it's much more comfortable.
A lot of the time, you can create your own business from it as well. Because if you know enough about the product, you know how it's made, and then you can just do your own versions of it.
Yeah.
So with that influence, you also get to know people, and then you'll have like those business relationships. So if you, like I said, if you engage in those practices where you're just grabbing anything you can get through the door without actually checking out the companies you're working with or what you're actually saying, you can then damage other people's reputations with it as well.
And it always feels, I don't know whether this is just my experience, but it feels like ex-reality TV stars, you kind of Love Island and Big Brother lot and all of that kind of thing, they develop an enormous following very quickly on social media, and then as soon as the program finishes, they're selling teeth whitening kits and mattresses.
Everything, yeah. It's the same vein as when people have a very viral Twitter post and then you look into the thread and just below it they're selling like fairy lights.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, we were approached by this company to work with them, so I thought, cash in if you can. If you've got those viral posts, pour it into it. But if you're trying to build a following, you can't keep doing it that way. You're never going to get that post again. So maybe try and build it up rather than just going for the first company that goes, hey, we'll give you 50 quid if you just sell my plastic case.
Yeah. Whereas if you develop the influence and then you're kind of promoting a product or service that you provide within that here and there, the people who trust you will go, I'd quite like to work with that person because I've got this and this in common. I trust what they say and da-da-da-da-da. I think that's something which still works much better than jumping on other people's products.
And it's a very strong sales tactic as well.
Yeah,
we can use. Well, thanks for coming down, Jay.
No worries, mate. Thanks for having me. Thanks for inviting me into your new studio.
No problem. Yeah, we'll probably change it up again. I like keeping you on your toes. Every time you come in, I'm just going to make you sit somewhere else in the studio.
Do it.
So thank you all for watching Maverrik Live. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe to us and follow all of our social channels. And we'll be back for our next show on Friday, where I'll be talking, I think talking to Curtis actually.
Cool.
Should be quite interesting. So check out for that one, and we'll see you next time for Maverrik Live.